like.
People deluded, I'm back again.
Come on, Ian, bro. Come on.
People deluded, I'm back again. Another video. Appreciate you lot for tuning in. Please make sure you're smashing the like button, you're commenting and subscribing. To my long-term supporters, as you know, appreciative of you lot tuning in each and every time. Without wasting any more time, let's see what's concerning Arsenal in terms of the news, views, talking points and whatnot in relation to the transfers, as we're actually not at the end of the Premier League season, but we're approaching it. As we always know, the dream is free, the hustle is sold separately. Now, this journalist, Javi Miguel Club, or Javi Miguel, and I'm reading his Twitter handle, has claimed that Real Sociedad midfielder Martin Zubimendi is very close to accepting an offer to play at Arsenal next season. A move to Barcelona has been ruled out. I guess Barcelona need to sell players. They're probably focused on bringing back Lionel Messi to the club. You don't know me. I'm a big fan of Zubimendi. I know all the hype is around Caicedo and Declan Rice. We're going to get onto them. They'd be fantastic additions same way. But for me, admittedly, I'm not perfect. I have a bias towards Spanish players, and Gabby Vigo of Celta Vigo, he's welcome. Ivan Fresnadar, the young fullback over at Valladolid, he's welcome. And Zubimendi, I think you look at his defensive metrics, he intercepts the ball a lot, he plays progressive passes in that 6 role, he defends quite well, he's actually decent in the air. He could be our Rodri. You know, his release clause is about 50-odd million. I know Sociedad, he's comfortable there. You've got a Euros to think about potentially getting into the Spain squad if he's not there already. And also, they might be in the Champions League. So you've got no real reason to depart Spain. Although, you know, a fellow Bassman is at the club in Mikel Arteta. There's a midfield spot ready for you, and he'd be perfect. I really think he would. But apparently, he's very close to accepting an offer to play for Arsenal. Now, he's got a release clause of 50-odd million. So you'd imagine out of him, Lavia, Onana, Neves, Declan Rice, Caicedo, any midfielder we've been linked with, end of the day, you activate his release clause. You know, Sociedad get their money, and it's down to you to agree personal terms with the individual. We all know we tried to buy him in January, and it didn't work. We all know in January he expects to have a quiet summer and doesn't expect to move. Now, obviously, we could take his words at face value and believe him. He might not, but he could be playing a bit of a game, being quite coy and clever, because realistically, he's got a season that he wants to finish strongly with Sociedad. And if a move isn't happening, there's no point talking. For me, I think he's perfect for Arsenal Football Club, and specifically how Mikel Arteta plays. Now, allegedly, journalists all over are still saying Arsenal still hold a little bit of interest in Caicedo heading into the summer transfer window. I think we'll go for Declan Rice and maybe Zubimendi. I would love to be proven wrong, and we bring Rice and either Zubimendi or Caicedo, or two of the three. I just think, you know, we're going to go all after Rice. It's a really, it's a case of activating the release clause for Zubimendi, and I think the Caicedo chapter is done really, because, you know, Brighton played hardball. I'd love to be proven wrong, but for what it's worth, it's interesting. Xhaka, they have not signed a new deal with him yet. Jorginho is in a similar position, and Arsenal have Thomas Partey in a deep midfield role. So maybe that's what Arsenal are trying to do with this Declan Rice deal. Obviously, Caicedo as a player, they continue to have a little bit of interest in, not as much as in January, but you look at that and think they're looking to evolve the deeper position. Fair enough, really and truly. On that, apparently, Arsenal are planning a new Caicedo raid. So it all depends where you read. Arsenal are still monitoring Caicedo as they eye up a summer swoop, sources have told Football Insider. As we know, Brighton are still expecting bids for the star midfielder this summer, even though he recently put pen to paper on a new contract at the Amex Stadium until 2027. That includes the option of a further 12 months. The 21-year-old is also keen to quit the Seagulls despite committing his immediate future to the club. The Gunners are monitoring Caicedo's situation, and fellow London club Chelsea are also interested, with a move to another top European league possible as well. I think PSG should go for him. Both Chelsea and Arsenal came in for the midfielder in the winter window, the latter putting in a £70 million bid that was rejected by Brighton. Following the massive interest in the winter, Caicedo was told not to return to training until the January window had closed, which it has, and it's gone really. You have heard Chelsea are focusing all their efforts on signing Lavia and outgoings people. You never know who could be interested. I think all of the top 6 should be interested in him. I think Newcastle could be a good option. I think a couple of teams abroad, Paris Saint-Germain specifically, could deal with him, people. He spoke in April about how it was tough seeing his move to the Emirates fall through, but it's certain he'll have many more opportunities. That might be a move to Arsenal, that might be elsewhere. Now, Brighton are on course to be in Europe, better in the season they had. I think Brighton are now approaching that territory where they want to hold on to some players. McAllister probably leaves. Caicedo over the next 2 years probably leaves. There's even interest in their manager, Zubimendi, apologies, De Zerbi, back to Italy. So there's that. And it must be frustrating, as good as Brighton are, if you're a key player there, whether that's McAllister, etc., a bit like how maybe Cesc Fabregas felt, Nasri felt, all the key players in the early days at the Emirates when you're assembling a good squad and they're getting plucked by other clubs, really. So we'll have to see, really. He said he likes Arsenal because of their young, talented squad who have a mindset of wanting more. Come and join us and be part of it. Currently, he has 36 appearances across all competitions for Brighton and has scored 1 goal and got 1 assist. Obviously, assists and goals are not his skill set or his remit. From one midfielder to another, Arsenal close in on Declan Rice signing. Arsenal are confident of securing the signing of Declan Rice this summer after climbing into a very strong position to complete a deal, sources have told Football Insider. Rice is expected to leave West Ham in the upcoming window for a fee of around 100 million for a player whose contract's running now. That's great business if it does happen. And is expected, or better yet, amid widespread interest from top-tier clubs. City and Chelsea are also keen on the England international, but are behind Mikel Arteta's side in the race to sign him. It's understood that the midfielder would prefer to stay in his home city of London, people. Chelsea have been chasing Rice for some time, but are increasing their interest in Southampton star Lavia, who has emerged as a top target for the mega spenders this summer. It is Arsenal who are in pole position for the West Ham star on the back of excellent progress under Arteta this season, and they can guarantee Champions League football at least for 12 months. We all know he grew up a Chelsea fan. He's great friends with Mason Mount, who's also been linked with our club. Again, until the man signed, nobody knows. We've also been linked with Pedro Neto. I don't know where you lot stand on it. Comment, subscribe, let me know your thoughts, people. I like him. I just think with injuries, especially if they want 50 million, that's a bit crazy. 30 odd, 40 odd, I could hear it. 35, they signed him for 16 million. 23, there's untapped potential, and you could provide a good option ahead of Saka. And if Arteta can develop you, maybe potentially competition for Saka or other players. They plan to resist any offers for Pedro Neto, though, and he's had 2 big injuries. It's believed that Wolves want to keep hold of the 23-year-old as they look to build on the success brought under Lopetegui, people. So we'll have to see. It is believed that Arsenal are monitoring the Wolves star situation as he makes steady comeback from yet another long-term injury. A move would come as a surprise considering his limited impact over the last 2 years. Neto has failed to score or assist across 17 Wolves appearances this season due to a serious ankle injury hampering his development. So he's had a serious ankle issue, a serious knee problem. We were interested in him despite this last summer, balked at the 50 million price tag, rightly so. It's believed that Mikel Arteta's side will be in the market again for another winger in the off-season as they target a backup to Bukayo Saka. So we'll have to monitor that. Once again, Barcelona will probably get rid of players, so we're going to continuously be linked with Eric Garcia, Rafinha, Ansu Fati, and probably a bunch of others. But for what it's worth, we're battling with Aston Villa, where, it's a case of 2 Spanish managers trying to sign Ferran Torres and allow him to return to the Premier League. Barcelona are reportedly willing to sell people. He can play across the front 3 positions, so you could understand why we'd be interested. I don't know why, but Barcelona signed him for 48 million, people. It was reported back in January that Torres was up for sale along with fellow Barcelona forwards Rafinha and Ansu Fati. In fact, Ansu Fati, allegedly, George Mendes offered him to Wolves in exchange for Ruben Neves, and Xavi's not convinced on Ruben Neves' quick capabilities. It's said that many clubs across Europe are keen on the Spain international, not least Aston Villa, who are prepared to heavily back ex-Arsenal manager Unai Emery in the summer transfer market. So we'll have to see. That's someone that's been linked with us before. We've also been linked with former Haylen boy Yunus Musa, and apparently, he remains on Arsenal's transfer list and is a backup plan to the backup plan, really, the 20-year-old. Pardon me. Allegedly, what's specifically been said, Wijnaldum, forgive me for mispronunciation, cannot see Musa at the Emirates unless he enjoys a stunning end to this current campaign. But to be fair, Valencia are struggling collectively. Musa is not in a good spot at the moment with Valencia. However, his performances have been enough to warrant interest. Musa is on the list of players that Arsenal are targeting, but certainly is not at the top of the list. There are several other targets that still hold the upper hand as far as they are concerned. He's a backup plan to the backup plan. And I mean, he can play across a couple of roles. He's someone that I wouldn't say we struggled to keep hold of him. He made clear he wanted to leave and leave the club and develop, and it served him right. He's become an American international. He's played week in, week out in the top 5 leagues. So, yeah, it would have been nice to not let the Haylen lad leave, but it is what it is. So, yeah, we've been linked with Caicedo, Rice, Pedro Neto, and obviously Yunus Musa. So it all depends what conclusions you want to draw there, people. To wrap this up, if we look at goal.com and see what rumours they've had for us, people, what's this? Nelson has rejected Arsenal's first renewal proposal, which typically happens. We're ready to break the bank to bring in Moussa Diaby, and along with Moussa Diaby, we're interested in Zaha, Declan Rice, Lavia, and Mark Gurley, who's a centre-back, as you can see. We've been linked with Paulinho, former Sporting Lisbon player, now with Fulham. Apparently, we're competing with Bayern Munich for him. Newcastle, AC Milan are competing with Arsenal for Ivan Fresneda. We all know young Charlie Patino wants to leave. I don't buy the Ollie Watkins rumours. Apparently, we're open to offers for Xhaka, Tierney, and Balogun. We're preparing a Mount offer. PSG are plotting on Saka. Lol. We're looking at Gravenberch, Kante. There was rumours we offered him a 2-year deal. Apparently, he doesn't want to leave Chelsea. We're continuously linked with Zaha as his contract runs down. I would love us to sign the 18-year-old Atletico Paranense attacker Victor Rogue, especially for 35 million. We more need an immediate sort of attacking option, but I think we'd be missing the trick. I really believe in his potential. Newcastle continuously are linked with Kieran Tierney. We'll have to monitor that one. We've been linked with Bayern Munich right back Missouri. And obviously, I've just mentioned Moussa Diaby. So, yeah, please let me know your thoughts on any of the things we've covered, people. I'd love to know how you feel. Please make sure you're subscribing, turning on your notifications, checking out the rest of my other videos, and also hitting the like button. Other than that, thank you for listening. Appreciative of you lot tuned in. And, yeah, man, stay blessed, stay safe. Check out the rest of the other vids. Follow on all the socials, and I'll see you lot soon.
There's always just that active red flag defending.
I think it's like